let's see here. I jump on my channel so I can read some of these comments. Maybe the app isn't going to crash. Nope, looks, nah, it's good. We made it. All right, another live feed. I wasn't going to do a live feed tonight. I'm in my office cleaning up, trying to unpack and shredding paper, and I came across some stuff. And I thought I would spend just a couple minutes and go over a couple things. Because I think it is time. I know it's time for a change. I've known it's time for a change for a while. But before we get into that, really quickly, it is really rare when Canel asks for a favor, right? And he'd asked yesterday if I would, and I'm sure he's asked others as well, would share out the painting that he's donating, I think, to St. Christopher's Fund. If you wouldn't mind, after this video is done, run over to beattruckstops.com. Maybe just share that out to some people on your Facebook, or at least consider that if you would. It's for a really good cause, and he said he rarely ever asks me for anything. So if you guys don't mind, I would appreciate it. I know Canel would appreciate it. And I certainly know that St. Christopher's Fund would appreciate it as well. Again, it's beattruckstops.com. And that's the first thing that you'll see coming up. So if you guys wouldn't mind taking a peek, sharing it out, that would be awesome. Okay. I want to just sort of dive right into this video. We all sort of have those moments in our life, and we sort of know it's time for changes or a significant change. And that's sort of, I've known it's time for a while. And so I've been slow to react on it. It's going to take more effort on my part, more bandwidth, as I call it, more time. And it really becomes, I've got to prioritize other things around to make this more of a commitment. And I kind of quipped about this a few weeks back in a video. I think the best place, truthfully, to do it is going to be on the Trucking Exec Facebook page. I'm going to start to post a lot of information on the Trucking Exec Facebook page. Up until now, it's really just been kind of a placeholder for some BS pictures and some comments and stuff like that. I want to try to grow that into a larger group that is providing really valuable business experience on that page, right? And so, again, it's not been that up until this point. And so I'm going to start putting a lot more content there. I invite you, if that's something that you're interested in, to check out the Facebook page, like it or whatever it is, join it. I may have to make it into a club, I'm not sure. In any event, I'm going to put a lot more information there. What I hope is that other individuals begin to use that as a forum to discuss how to improve our respective businesses there. Because I think ultimately what we need to start to leverage is that collective intelligence, right? Collective intelligence, what does that mean? That means taking the intelligence of a collective of people, more often than not in this particular business or this industry, that is going to be really useful information, right? And so instead of just getting information from one talking head that you're looking at now, let's begin to maybe use the collective intelligence that we have from our community to try to really increase that knowledge base for those that are in the space that want to continue their business or want to become better, right? And so I'm going to try to accomplish that and put more very dedicated, very specific content onto the Trucking Exec page. All right, so that's sort of the big change. As I was cleaning out my office, I came across this. I'm like, what is that? This is the first golf tournament that I ever won. Now, this was a long, long time ago. I was not even a good golfer. This was like the the local little golf club that they had a tournament. I wasn't even in the A flight. I'd only been playing golf for a couple of years. I think I was in the B flight. I know I was in the B flight. And I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about why I want to discuss that in this topic for this video. I've been playing golf for a few years, and the 18th hole is a dog leg left, almost 90 degrees, two different lakes in the fairway. If you want to cut the corner, you got to go over some really tall pecan trees. That's normally what I did. I just hit driver over the trees. If I came up short of the green, fine, no big deal. If I was right, no big deal. Way left was some out of bounds, but that's how I normally played the hole. When I came to the 18th hole, the last hole of this tournament, I knew that I was in the lead, and I was excited, I was nervous. I was in a situation that I'd never been in before. And I wanted to ensure that I won. I wanted to ensure that I achieved that goal, right? And so what did I do? Did I hit driver like I always did? No, because there was a lot of bad things there. And I was, mentally I wasn't very strong in competing in golf, and a whole host of different reasons. So what did I do? I pulled out a pitching wedge. It's a par 4. I pulled out a pitching wedge. Okay, I had a couple stroke leads, so I hit a pitching wedge, and then short of the first pond, I hit a pitching wedge again in between the first pond and the second pond, and I hit another one onto the green, and I two putted and I won. And the 18th hole, right, there's the clubhouse, and there's all the guys that had finished before me that were sitting on like the wall, laughing, mocking, making fun. But I got it done. It wasn't pretty. It kind of stung the ego just a little bit, right? But I got it done. I did what I needed to do to get it done, to achieve that goal, right? And I have every golf tournament that I think I've ever stood on the 18th tee that I was had a chance to win or was leading. I think every time I thought about that scenario. Now, I don't think I know I've never hit pitching wedge off the 18th tee again, but it is the littlest things that can make a big difference. And in that particular case, I don't know that I was thinking right. I was at least thinking, right? I was at least thinking about what bad things could happen if I hit driver, right? I'm going to start sharing some of this stuff. This is an older book. It's been out for a while. Let's see if I can find how long it's been out really quickly. Probably would have been handy if I'd have done this before turning the camera on. 2 more seconds. No, I don't see the date anywhere, but doesn't matter. It's a good book. I suspect this is going to come in backwards like everything else does on YouTube. It's called The Tipping Point, right? The author is Malcolm Gladwell, and this is one of the easiest reads that you'll ever, or listen, for a lot of you guys do the audiobooks. I don't know if this is on an audiobook. This book has been around. I believe it was a bestseller, and it would not surprise me in the least if it was on audiobooks. The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. And he specifically talks about how little things make a tremendous difference. The awesome thing about this book, especially for someone like me, this book is probably, I don't know, 50 different really short stories about really crazy examples about why people are wildly successful and why others aren't. And it's got some scientific data and evidence, which anybody that's followed me on this channel know that that's how my mind is wired. And so this was like right up my alley. I'm going to start to push a lot of this type of content onto the Facebook page. I get this question a lot. Are there books? Are there things? Where should I be reading? How should I be better? What can I be doing on my downtime or while I'm driving? So we're going to start by doing and focusing on how some of the smallest things can make some of the biggest differences, like hitting pitching wedge off the 18th tee, right? Sometimes that just matters. Ultimately, to be successful in business, right, you have to focus on setting and achieving, right? Setting and achieving small incremental goals, right? For those that have ever had to be in credit card debt, I'm sure you guys have all heard the analogy of if you've got 3 or 4 credit cards, take the credit card that has the smallest debt on it first. A lot of people have that tendency of, I'm going to pay down my biggest debt first. The experts say, take the smallest debt first and pay it down. Why? Because it's easier. And then you create momentum. You tackle the small things, right? So you focus on setting, but also achieving small incremental goals, right? Your business is no different. Rather than just like trying to start a business and instantly having, your vision that what this business is going to look like 1, 2, 3, 10 years down the road, just set realistic goals and measure yourself. Create milestones for your success. All right, I had an email just a few minutes ago. A couple of them that I was going through, and this gentleman had mentioned that a couple of guys had said, hey, they're getting their news. They're looking to get their CDL, or one just got their CDL, and what steps should they take to become that owner operator, right? I think that's a lot of really valuable information, and that's where I would like a lot of people on the Trucking Exec Facebook page to start having those discussions. I was watching a video the other night, and I'm not going to mention their name just for the simple reason that I don't want it to come across as disrespectful, because I understood the content that they were discussing, and the conversation sort of went like this. Does it matter if you're going to be offered a $1 per mile run out of Florida, right? And a lot of guys are like, absolutely not. There's no way or absolutely it does. There's no way I'm going to take a 1 mile run, right? No way. I wouldn't do it. So then the conversation said, well, but what if you got like $4 a mile going in and $1 coming out? No, hell no, I'm not going to. Well, and some guys said, hell no. Some guys said, well, yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe I might do that, right? Maybe I might do that. And then the question was posed this way. What if I'm going to combine these 2 runs for you? I'm going to get your, if you want to call it your head haul and your back haul out of there. And I'm going to give you $250 a mile going in. I'm going to give you $250 a mile coming out. Would you do that? You know what a lot of guys said? Yeah, that I would do. Yeah, I would do that. Everything else is equal, right? The same run, the same time, the same load, all things being equal. And the point this individual was making, right, the speaker was, it's the same, right? It's the same. And that was the conversation that they were talking about. And I agree with that. It is the same. I sort of want to take that type of conversation on the Trucking Exec Facebook page, but I want to go a little bit deeper, right? I want to talk about because we all face those types of scenarios often, right? Often. And I want to discuss why you should look at maybe taking that $1 per mile run and when you should, because the numbers dictate that there are absolutely times that you should. The numbers also dictate that there are times that you shouldn't. And a lot of guys don't know when they should or when they shouldn't. And some guys just say, hell no, my ego says, I'm Billy Badass Trucker, I ain't gonna do it. You know what, all right, Billy Badass, that's fine. But if you run some just really basic numbers over 48 weeks out of the year, and the number of times that we are forced out of our control into poor rates, which is gonna be February, late July and August, like the chances of you being faced with cheaper freight is gonna be at least 10 weeks out of the year, 10 weeks out of your 48. So more than 1/5, I don't know what that number is, somebody figured out, 22, 23%, whatever that is, of your 48 weeks you're gonna be faced with lower rate. So do you know when you should take that rate and when you shouldn't? Do you know why you shouldn't, right? And so I want to start discussing some of those things, and let's get a little bit deeper so that for those that want to get more serious about growing their business, let's do that there, right? Let's do that there. Because it is those small decisions that matter. It's those small decisions that matter a lot. right? A lot. All right, that's it. That's sort of that's the meat of the content. 15 minutes, talked about the change. Let me jump up. I'll try to answer a few questions, and then I'll give you guys your, this is the party transfer. Is it Wednesday? Is it Thursday? Anybody? Somebody let me know. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? I don't even know. Let's see. I got a calendar right here on my laptop. It's Thursday. All right. So then I'll give you the rest of your Thursday night back. Aaron King, I want to talk about. I'll probably address your video tomorrow, Aaron, if you don't mind. And Aaron, if you don't mind, also, if you want to go ahead and shoot me your phone number on the same email, I'll maybe try to give you if you're available tell me what your availability is tomorrow, and I'll try to give you a call within whatever that window is. If I miss you, maybe I'll text you or something like that. But if you won't mind, shoot me your email and the window of opportunity, then I'll try to give you a call. So hey, everybody's in here. Let's see, Hypocrite Buster, Ike needs free food at GATS. Man, I've never been to GATS. I've never been to one of the trade shows. I'm sure there's free food there. Hey, everybody give Jim a quick golf clap. He's got a CDL the other day. He said he's gonna head out for about 15,000 miles with your trainer here in about 5 days. Need practice back in the 90, but I'll get it nailed soon. No doubt you will, man. Practice is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. All right, let me try to jump down here. Charkis is proud of somebody for growing up and shit. I don't know who she's proud, but I'm proud too, whoever that is. MC squared. Anybody know what MC squared means? MC squared, do you know what that means? I do. I hope it's a good idea. I hope that's, there is a Trucking Exec Facebook page, yeah. Instagram as well, and Twitter if you guys are into that kind of stuff. Instagram and Twitter is probably still going to remain just sort of not. I do sort of more nonsense, but I really want to start growing the Trucking Exec Facebook page again for that purpose that I've already described. Decentralized knowledge. Donnie Luke, pick up nuggets from multiple people. I like it. That's it, right? That's it. Britain, Florida. Good evening, Scott and the group. Had a great day at GATS. Oh, very cool. Glad you're there. I haven't seen much of what's going on at GATS there. I haven't seen a lot of the videos. I sort of expected. I was just driving back. I was on a 30, 45-minute drive. I was expecting to maybe listen to a few things while I was driving, and I didn't see much from anybody. Corporate Greed, good evening. Food Mooch is in the house. How's it going? Food Mooch is being my, he's being my market manager. I appreciate that, my marketing manager. Let's see your mom. Hit the ball. Get the ball. Game. Playing fetch with yourself. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, right? Larry June's in the house. We can start this video now. Well, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Adam Gallagher, how's it going, man? Man, I did shave. Golly, I know. Yeah. Don't get used to it. I'm not a big fan of it. Brett says my best ever game of golf. I was 8 over par before I got off the first tee. Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Corporate Key, there you guys go. Free popcorn at the parking lot in Dallas. There you go, free food. Dallas Edwards, what does golf have to do with anything? I missed the beginning. I've got to watch it later. Yeah, we'll just keep it. We'll try to keep this one short and sweet. Yeah, just kind of watch it later. I guess the analogy I was making is what I did that was very atypical to win my first golf tournament, and how that applies to business in general, but more specifically in trucking. Truck as it says, I think it's an awesome idea. For some people, the Facebook thing is a better option, and I enjoy a good, open conversation. Well, cool, man. I hope that we get some of that. I know it's going to take a bit of time, but I want to start pushing information that way. I think it's there's just a lot of really bad information that I see in a lot of these other Facebook groups, and quite frankly, I find myself speaking negatively about a lot of that stuff, and I do it not to just, well, sometimes I do it to pound on some of those guys that run those Facebook forums. Honestly, I'll just be honest. But truthfully, it's more about taking that misinformation and trying to say, hey, this is maybe how you really should be looking at it. And so we all get tired of people that just are nagging and bitching and complaining. And so I should probably just stop bitching and complaining and just do it myself. So we can try to do that. Chicken Joker. TZ, let's see. I chatted in here a few days ago. I'm in CDL school. I got a pre-hire offer, 72 cents a mile. It does involve unloading the trailer, but the load will be on some sort of dolly. What do you think? Well, so the instant reaction is everybody's going to say 72 cents a mile is great. I've got a lot of questions that come after that, sort of like, what's your stop pay? Are you paid, or how many miles are you're going to get on average? Because you can be paid $1 a mile, right? And that sounds really good, but if you're not getting very good miles, then it kind of sounds sketchy, right? But no, 72 cents out of the gate sounds incredibly strong. And you guys are all talking about food tonight, which is good. Normally we're talking some crazy alcoholic drinks that you guys all know how to mix. Jim says it's math if the loads are guaranteed, and that's sort of the question, right? I mean, look, the answer to that quick scenario is you don't want to take the 250 in, 250 out. What you really want to do is you want to take the $4 per mile in, and then you've got options. You've made your money right up front, right? You've made 85% of your money right up front, and then now you have all the options that you need to look at, right? Including deadhead, including taking cheaper freight, including a whole host of other things, right? But all that kind of gets down to the next layer, right? So start peeling back layers of the onion. You think about this. I don't want to take the 250, both ways. What you really want to do is take the $4 per mile. Because what happens if your second leg, your second 250 cancels or some bad thing happens, right? Take your $4 a mile going in. That's the way you want to handle that. Now, again, that wasn't the point of this other individual's conversation, but in that scenario, you want to take your $4 a mile in because you're guaranteed that you get that. And then you have options on what you do from there, right? And then predicated on where your clock is at, where you're at on your 70 and all sorts of other things, determines whether or not you deadhead out, whether or not you take $1 per mile or that kind of stuff, right? But again, that's the kind of conversations that I want to start having, is not just that first layer, not just guys pounding their chest, right? Talking about their rates or all this nonsense. I want to start getting deeper into why people should make the decisions that they make. Hypocrite Buster, what do I not? I already do it for free. What do I not do for free? For crying out loud, man. Thomas Wilson said, if you invested in a truck driver to become an owner-operator with 30 years, what percentage would be reasonable to pay back? Let me read that again. If you invested in a truck driver to become an owner-operator with 30 years of experience, I'm not sure. I'm confused, Thomas. Ask it a different way. Yeah, Larry Jr., you're right. For sure, out of the Southeast, it's pretty rough right now. I'm Small Fry says it is today. It is, whether it was Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it is today. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Chicken Choker says, anyone interested in buying an inflatable pool company? I am not. Eddie says, I don't think the examples given calculated fuel. No, and again, right, if you saw that video, right, that sort of wasn't the message, right? But I wanted to take that example and sort of use it for a different message, because on other Facebook forums, that sort of example was used. And what I saw was a lot of guys thinking the wrong way, right? And so that's just why I want to start having those conversations. I want to start peeling back layers of the onion to get guys to think about the totality of that decision and why and when they should make, the right decisions. Neil says, I think if it gets you to a higher load, AK per mile, then do it, because it could help pay for your fuel in the next load. Yep, and Neil, that's what we want to start talking about, right? There's a lot of factors that come into play when that scenario plays out. And what we see in a lot of Facebook forums is guys thinking just probably 2 layers deep, right? And truthfully, there's probably 5 or 6 layers deep, and I rarely, and I mean rarely if ever, see guys talking about that. And what that means is either people aren't thinking that way, or they're not communicating it. And maybe some people know it, maybe that's a competitive advantage to them. Well, let me rephrase that. That is a competitive advantage to them if they think differently than what most of these guys are saying. And so my point is that's what we're here to do, is enable people to be more successful if they choose to want to put that effort in. And so that's what I'd like to start doing. Where are you at? Came in late. Time for a change. I'm so far behind on the comments, you probably already got the recap, right? Skills on a Ghost. Are you hammered? I am not hammered. Not at all. Texas and Candy. I waited 10 years before getting my CDL through KLLM. And it's sad. I love driving, but the business side I love driving, but the business side I really prepared for. And many new drivers who really love driving should focus on the numbers. Yes, you bet. Loshan's in the house. It says, hey Scott, hey man, I'll send you an email in a bit. I did get some information back per our conversation the other day. I'll shoot you an email in just a minute. It says, I actually have a video coming out about exactly what you were talking about. Knowing when to take cheap freight, knowing when to, cool, very good, very good. Yeah, I've talked about that some in the past. I'm sure you have and others. There's just a lot of pieces to that puzzle, right? And there's a lot of variables that, this week, your answer could be, I should deadhead out. You could be on the exact same runs next week in slightly different circumstances, and the answer is you should take $1 per mile, right? As frustrating as that is, right? As frustrating as that is, if your focus is to put the most money in your pocket, then sometimes you need to do that. But man, let me know shoot me a text when you drop that video, and I'll share it out and I'll watch it as well. Corporate Greed, we are mad. They're getting us free meals at the truck show. You guys are all about the free meals. St. John, do you have anyone representing Belfour at GATS? No, we do not. Nope. I'm just not a particularly big fan of it, man, just not. Yes, Miranda. Yes, I do review Sonar and FreightWaves. I think that's there's a lot of good information, and I find it to be accurate a lot. I mean, what we see right now, guys, is I think was it 2 or so weeks ago, or they were saying this week, right? Rates should really take a big jump up. When guess what? They didn't, right? We should start to see a little bit of increase this week. Again, it's really towards the very end of August is when you start to see things kind of trend upwards. And so they sort of missed it this week. But again, I don't expect those guys to be 100% right, and any more than I expect me to be 100% right. Scott, Thomas, I did not answer your question. Type it again if you do it in mine, or copy paste it, and because I'll lose it if I try to go back all the way back up. Maybe I can answer it then. Little Viking, cool story. If you guys didn't see that the other day, man, we talked about it the other day. If you guys didn't check out the video he did, actually he just kind of reposted a news article, but man, what a cool, powerful story. So check out Little Viking Coach's channel on that if you didn't. Food Mooch says, alcohol in a truck is not good, no doubt. Dropping in late, what's the change? I'm gonna be putting a lot more information on the Trucking Exec Facebook page up until, and I'll probably try to start doing that Friday, Saturday kind of thing. Up until now, it's just been basically a BS page. I post some pictures and articles, and actually not even really articles, just pictures and stuff. But I really want to change it to focus on being a place where a lot of people can come in and really begin to discuss really specific, detailed things as far as how to be more profitable, how to be more successful within this specific industry. Truck drivers, hey, quote of the day, you don't win anything, you don't get anything. Carolina Cruiser, quote of the day, truck drivers lie, numbers don't. Oh my goodness, that's funny. 30 years as a company driver. I'd like to go to the next level. Okay, what was the rest of your question? Would I something about if I would invest, what would I charge? What percentage? Was that the question? Yeah, I know, Larry. Trucking with authority. Make business decisions, not emotional decisions, right? Really, yeah, we could we'll just leave it right there. Let's see, none of us started a business to protest our own industry. Are you sure about that? I don't know that I agree that there's factual evidence that shows that. I sort of have the feeling that there's some people that got in this business just because they knew that people bitched and moaned and whined about this business. They thought that was perfect for them. Man, we just see it. You just see it all the time. You don't have to look hard. You can go look at any Facebook forum. I don't care how good the intended Facebook forum is, right? There's one or two that are good. There's a bunch that suck. But it doesn't matter if they're good or they suck. You're still going to have those guys in there pounding their chest talking about stuff. Nonsense. Where are we at? 32 minutes. We'll go for a few more, answer a few more questions, and we'll get out of here. Let's see, 6 on a ghost. That is the worst advice. Better off deadheading. Again, that's the point, right, Silks? And not trying to be disrespectful to you. There are times when deadheading is absolutely the best option. And there are times when taking the dollar per mile freight is absolutely the best option. And if you don't know why, then there's there's a couple of channels that you should be listening to. But here's the thing, if you don't go in with an open mind, if you go in with the mind of that's bullshit and you're one of these guys that are pounding your chest and saying, I'm not gonna do it because I think that that's part of the problem is guys taking cheap freight, then you're gonna miss out on probably $10,000 to $15,000 in revenue every single year. And that's probably somewhat conservative. Now, if your profit margin is 10%, it's a couple $1,000s that you're just throwing away. I don't like cheap freight any more than you do or the next guy. But I sure do like making money. And so that's exactly the point of this particular topic is there's times when to do it, and there's times when not to. And a lot of guys don't know which one of those two they are. Bugsy, let's see, my guy, Low. Silks, if you can, I tell you what, Silks, if you can provide me the evidence that shows that your comment that guys taking cheap freight continues to self-perpetuate cheap freight, if you can provide me evidence with that, man, I'll send you a crisp $100 bill, right? I will. It's much, much deeper than that, right? And we all want to have that emotional reaction that says, man, logic says don't do that, right? And a lot of times logic is right. And a lot of times feel and real are two totally different things. Right? There's a reason why we say we have that phrase called the eye test, right? My eyes tell me this, but the numbers don't really lie. And so there's a lot of evidence that suggests the opposite. Just there is. Let's see, Bugsy is leg humping Low, Low's leg humping Bugsy. Trucker Daddy says he's got a problem with $1 per mile freight. You're basically enabling shippers to force cheaper. Again, guys, that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this conversation, right, is let's evoke just raw, hardcore emotion, right? And then let's start applying numbers and data and really peeling back not just that one or two layers where it's really emotional. Let's put the emotional on the shelf, take our egos, and let's start looking at how we are going to be most successful. That's what this is about. And you don't have to believe your ego at the door, but I'm just telling you, if you don't, you're giving up. I can tell you right now, if you run an average of 100,000 miles, Loshan's in here, Kenny was in here, maybe still is, others that probably have some channels that run some numbers, and they'll tell you the same thing. If you're running 100,000+ miles a year, and you're the guy that says, I'm going to deadhead, what's going to happen is you're going to miss out on $10,000 to $15,000 worth of revenue. Plus, you're going to cost yourself your 10 or 20% profit margin, or whatever your margin is. Okay, on top of that. Oh, by the way, we haven't even talked about the costs per mile for you to deadhead out, right? Which is probably going to be, you know, somewhere in that $1.50 to $1.80 range right now. Somewhere in that ballpark, right? Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, so by the time it's all said and done, we're probably talking somewhere around that $30,000 swing. It's a big deal. That's a lot of money to a lot of people. That pays a lot of bills. Again, there's times when you should capture that, and there's times when you shouldn't. That's the whole point of the conversation. Mitch Hawthorne, I do SWOT reports. Oh man, Mitch, you're gonna start dropping acronyms in here. People are gonna be like, wait, what? What? Man, that's good stuff. Now we're starting to talk about sales. We're talking about business stuff. We're talking about root cause analysis and where we really freaked up, right? That's what we're talking about. And that's how we get better. Yukon says he likes the office better than the kitchen. Man, it's trashed right now. Hopefully by this weekend it's better. Why do companies require 2 years experience? Primarily it has everything to do with insurance, right? A lot of the megas are self-insured, and so they can swing that. Man, what is that? CILIL? A monkey, a YouTube, I don't know, something else. Trucker Ricky and the short bus. How about deadheading? That's an option. Sometimes you should do it, sometimes you shouldn't. And that's what we're going to talk about. The Music Trucker, AKA Bandit. More experience is better than a student of insurance, and you can rely on driver to do more. Corporate greed. No, man, look, if that's, there's really not a lot of stupid questions. I know that's a lie. I deal with them every day. I get a lot of them every day. I do. LBC is just begging for somebody to be a leg humper. John's saying, it's very true what I'm saying. If people track numbers, they'd understand that. And that's really what it gets down to, man, is we got to just start getting better, right? It gets back to this. Guys, man, tipping point. I'm telling you, download it, listen to it, read it. There's some fascinating stuff in there talking about what caused Bill Gates to be successful. It discusses professional athletes. It discusses just a vast array, right? This is not just your typical boring business book. Some pretty fascinating shit in here, right? No doubt, man. And by the way, it even says right here, a fascinating book. So, I mean, it's not just me saying it, right here. Fascinating book that makes you see the world in a different way. Holy cow, I didn't read that until right now. Guys, it's what I said in like one of my very first videos, in my very first channel. You've got to think, well, you don't have to think differently, but I'm really recommending that you start thinking differently. This is a really good example of thinking differently. Again, there's like 40 or 50 different real short stories about what little things happen that cause someone to be incredibly successful. Cool stuff. All right, we're gonna go for 5 more minutes, then we're done. 45-minute video. Carolina Cruiser says there are way too many people out here with authorities that shouldn't have them, brokers and carriers. Kenny, you read it. I mean, look, I couldn't put this book. I don't know how long I've had this book. Whenever it came out, I was in the airport and I grabbed it. I was trying to look for a date a minute ago, and I still can't find one. I'm like struggling really quick. And I couldn't put it down, man. I got off the plane and drove home and read it all the same day. It's fascinating. Good stuff. Good stuff. Corporate greed. You send money to Dallas. Why are you guys still talking about food? Yeah, I saw that. I saw one of the, I don't know if that's what we're talking about, music trucker, AKA Bennett. I saw some post somewhere, was it yesterday or maybe it was this morning, where the question was, do you consider 28,000 an LTL load or not? And if so, why? And there was just 1 or 2 comments. I don't know how long it had been posted, maybe not long. But I'm curious to see what a lot of the perspectives are on that one. Woof Woof, LDC. Oh, there you go. Gets his leg humper. Carolina Cruiser says, it's awesome guys like you, SoCal, Loshan, etc., willing to teach good information. Man, look, I guarantee you, we all appreciate that. Everybody loves hearing how great they are and the proverbial pat on the backs and that sort of stuff. But guys, look, and I can tell you this. I know that there are a couple of guys that try really, really hard to put out 100% correct information. I mean, we try really hard, and but it's still, from time to time, we can still screw up. And so it's your responsibility to vet everything that you hear, right? But there's a couple places that you guys can go to get some good information. There is. Chicken Choker says, read 3 books a week, helps brain function. Warren Buffett. Man, if I could show you guys all these boxes, I mean, all these boxes are just full of books, and I'm just gonna probably leave them in the boxes and stick them in the garage, I guess. I don't know. The Hool, how's it going? Trigger Daddy, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Bugsy says he's an owner operator with Zone Authority. Where can I find some help for dispatch? Oh man, that's a good question. So I think so here's my 2 cents on that. There's probably a lot of places that you can go to get some dispatch service help. I think you need to tread really carefully there, and make sure that you're finding one that's really, really reputable, right? Because you can sort of get burnt pretty quickly there, and so be real cautious. That is one of the reasons why I think, and I think it's all. I also think it's really cool that you're starting to hear owner operators talk about why they're going and leasing on, if you will, an owner operator that's leasing on to a company, because they're going to provide dispatching services, right? They're going to provide some of those things that are really valuable. And this is some of the stuff I want to begin talking about, or continue talking about here on YouTube. But I also want to have some of those discussions on the Trucking Exec Facebook page, which is what's that value, right? And when should you? And the answer, just so everyone knows, the question is, when should you start outsourcing things for your business, right? And the answer is, really quickly, you want to start outsourcing a lot of stuff so that you can remain focused on the couple of the key things that are going to keep you in business and allow you to be profitable, and outsource a lot of the rest, right? A lot of the rest. Doesn't mean you just start blowing money, right? That's the second piece, is you want to try to spend as little money as possible, especially the first 2 years. But again, just that's the kind of stuff that I want to start talking about there. Texas and Candy, what do you do if you're in my position, just 9 months experience, mega carriers only? Pretty much, or you can occasionally find some small mom and pops that will that'll bring you on. but more often than not, about 2 years with the Mega, and then you can sort of, you sort of kick the door wide open. All right, I said 45 minutes. We're over that. Let me plow through a couple of these questions and we'll get out of here. Only the Lonely, wonder if Playboy counts. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I just read the articles, Only the Lonely. Trigger Bandit says, I turn away dispatch business that doesn't run power only. Truckista says, I think as an owner-operator, building a relationship with the brokers is so important. I get calls regularly as a company driver from brokers asking me if I'm interested in the loads. And I think, I've talked about some of that. I've got videos kind of titled, Relationships Don't Matter. And really the whole point of that is, that was a little bit clickbaitish. Although there are times, I guess my point was there are times when they absolutely, those relationships can be used against you. So, understand that and know that they can be used against you and be aware of that so that you're getting a really good rate. But yeah, look, relationships and business kind of hand in hand. Corporate greed, talking to Texans. I was talking about short deadhead. Small recovery requires 2 years. Cool. Hey, that's it, guys. Third time, boom. Tipping Point. Listen to it, audiobook, if it's available. I don't know that it is. If not, read it, man. Good stuff, and it's a way to start looking at things differently so we can start thinking a little bit differently. We're going to start changing and putting more content, pushing more content to the Trucking Exec page. I'm going to start looking for a couple of moderators, but good time to go. I mean, look, if you go, you got questions, start asking, and let's just see, let's just start that process, right? Start now, right? Just like our business, okay? That's what I got. You guys make miles. Stay safe. Take care.